How the rich make money. The secret lies in cash flow, golden rules. Greetings, dear viewers and friends. Have you ever wondered how much wealth you could accumulate in your lifetime? Have you ever thought about how much money you could earn throughout your life? Let's test your intelligence. Suppose you could only earn 10 billion in your entire life. How could you change your fate and earn more than that? If you can't find the answer, there's only one reason. You don't understand money, and you don't understand Buddhist principles either. Today, I'll reveal some truths about the capital market. These truths might offend some major corporations or even impact certain countries. So, I'll speak carefully but clearly enough for everyone to understand. The first thing you must remember, never think about owning money, because money never truly belongs to you. Money always belongs to your country. What we need to do is find every legal way to put money in our pockets, and then keep that money moving and working for us. Once you understand that money isn't yours, you can change your fate, and there will be no limit to your wealth. I believe those who followed me for a long time have some awareness of this. Have you noticed that truly wealthy people hate holding cash? For example, if I sell stocks today and make a profit, I feel uneasy if that money just sits in my hands. This might sound like gamblers, right? But the rich and gamblers are separated by a thin line. The difference is that gamblers use money to take risky bets, while the rich use money to buy assets that generate passive income. So why don't we like holding cash? Some might say, don't businesses need cash? No. The most important thing for a business isn't cash, it's cash flow. Do you know the difference between these two concepts? It's simple. Have you ever heard of dead money? Money that doesn't move is dead money. For example, some parents work hard their whole lives, saving every penny for their children. But when they pass away, that money is finally used, and what was once enough to buy a house can now only buy a bathroom, all because of inflation. If you don't know how to increase the value of your money, if you only know how to save, then every day, your money loses a bit of its value. Sounds exaggerated? Take out your wallet and look at the bills inside. Is your name written on them? No, they bear your country's name. So who decides their value? You or your country? Let me tell you, it's not you, and it's not entirely your country either. Today, I'm not talking about shallow economic theories about inflation. I want to reveal the truth behind it. I once asked a leader in investment banking, a true financial shark, and from that, I learned how the rich turn dead money into living money, and how the world shears the sheep and harvests green crops from ordinary people. As I've said, I don't know who this talk might offend, so I urge you to hit the like button because you might not find this video later. I also want to emphasize that this channel was created to share information on getting rich, becoming entrepreneurs, and achieving financial freedom. If you don't want to miss this crucial information, please subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications. Now, I'll share some practical knowledge. I've previously said that people should learn to use financial leverage to buy more real estate. But some ask, what if house prices drop? What if I can't pay my debts? Let me tell you a story. It's simple, but can help some break through their mental barriers. A bank employee's son asked, "Dad, this bank isn't yours, so why do you, just an employee, earn so much money?" The father said, "Go to the fridge and get a piece of meat." The son obeyed. Then the father said, "Now put the meat back in the fridge." The son felt annoyed but did as told. He said, "Dad, are you teasing me? Or did I say something to upset you?" The father smiled and said, "No, I'm giving you the answer." The son, frustrated, replied, "You just made me run back and forth." The father laughed. "Look at what's on your hands." The son suddenly realized, I don't know if you understand, but why do the rich always borrow money? It's to keep cash flowing through their hands. As long as money keeps moving, we'll always have profits. But don't misunderstand. I'm not teaching you to embezzle or do anything illegal. The key point is that we need the right to use money, not to own it. Do you know who's behind games like Arena of Valor or Honor of Kings? If you say game companies, let me ask, do these companies really make money from games? Do you pay to play these games? No, they're free to download, right? So how do they make money? If I told you these companies are actually financial companies, would you believe me? Let's clarify. Can a business legally create money? No. But think carefully, what is money? From today's first lesson, we said money has two main functions. 1, a medium of exchange. I have a seashell, I can trade it for a cow. That seashell is money. 2, a measure of value. If a cow is worth 1 seashell and a pig is worth 10, The seashell is the unit of value. So, remember, anything that meets these two conditions can become currency. Now think about your own company. Can a business create money? In the real world, don't we use cash to exchange for another form of money? That's in-game currency. In games, you use this money to buy skins or join lotteries, right? How do you get this currency? Two ways. 1. Buy it with real money. 2. Log in daily or play enough to earn it. So, I ask, can this currency buy things in the real world? Simply put, can it be converted to real money? Is there a way to swap in-game money for real money? Yes, there is. If so, you'll realize that in-game money and real-world money can be exchanged. Not only that, in-game money can buy goods. Think about bank cards or credit cards. Don't banks give you reward points when you use them? Aren't those points essentially money? At year-end, can't you use those points to redeem gifts? If you have enough, could you redeem an apartment? Legally, it's entirely possible. So what's the issue? If a company can create its own currency in any form, as long as a community trusts and uses it for exchange, isn't that money? Yes, it is. And this already exists. Smart people realized this long ago. That's Bitcoin. Bitcoin succeeds on the same principle as internet businesses. It depends on one factor: how many people trust it. The more people trust it, the higher its value. In this era, if you're an entrepreneur without even 5,000 followers, how can you build a business? Today, we shouldn't see customers as just customers, but as fans. Look at Apple, Xiaomi, Tesla, or LV. They don't call their customers customers. They call them fans. We have Me fans, Apple fans, right? So, how does this relate to you? Do you now understand how trading platforms operate? They're exploiting the right to use currency. Why don't they charge you fees, or charge very little, when you deposit money and trade? Because they don't make money from fees. They make money from the cash flow circulating on their platform. These companies are essentially banks or financial institutions, just not named as such. Imagine you deposit $1 million into a trading platform. Their books instantly show an extra million. If 1 million people deposit $1 million each, how much money do they have? A colossal amount. But those numbers aren't what matter. What matters is understanding how that money is used. Now imagine waking up to find you have an extra $1 billion. The uninformed would deposit it in a bank at 2% interest, thinking they've got 20 million a year. But think about it. If financial firms with expert investors manage that money, how much could they earn? This is why I always say the rich do everything to keep cash flow in their hands, then invest it outward. They make money from cash flow. They play with financial leverage. Do you understand? As an individual, not yet a financial institution, you must find ways to revive your cash flow instead of letting it sit in a bank, becoming dead money. Because the money you worked hard for, sitting and used in a bank, is just being borrowed by others to make more money for them. If you've listened this far, you'll understand how we can use financial tools to play the cash flow game. There's a book I want to recommend, Fake by Robert Kiyosaki, author of Rich Dad Poor Dad. I've mentioned it before, but today I want to share an important historical part related to the US. It's shocking that many still don't know about it or understand its impact on our lives, and don't know how to change it. This baffles me. If you want to be stronger, the first thing to do is study the strongest in the world. And what's one of the strongest nations? No debate, it's the US. So why is the US so powerful? I've mentioned the famous Rothschild quote, "Whoever controls the currency controls most of the world's power." History buffs likely know what the US was like before. They went through a pivotal event, resulting in them owning over half the world's wealth. It's simple. At a certain point, humanity used gold for trade and financial education. When everyone believed gold was the medium of exchange, its value became infinite. In 1944, 44 of the world's most developed nations decided that only the US could produce gold, and other nations couldn't freely own it. Do you know this history? From that moment, gold became the sole currency for global trade and payments. This meant the US could use gold to buy all the world's assets and resources. But here's the catch. Only the US could create gold. So couldn't the US decide how much gold they owned? And from there, the US gradually became the world's most powerful nation. Why? They mined gold, then used it to buy everything other nations produced. They used gold to attract the best talent from other countries. They used gold to buy the world's most advanced technology. Because globally, Gold was the only currency designated for trade and payments, and only the US controlled gold. That's why they became the hegemon. So, if you want to succeed, you must study economics and capitalism. But the story doesn't end there. That's not the most powerful part. Have you ever wondered why the US dollar is called the dollar? Initially, Americans found trading with gold too cumbersome and heavy. So, they turned gold into paper, named it the US dollar, and other nations agreed. From the moment the US dollar became the sole international payment currency, everything changed completely. Who issues the US dollar? The Federal Reserve. Then, President Nixon announced the end of the gold standard. What did this mean? From that point, the amount of dollars printed was entirely up to the US. They could print as much as they wanted. Gold was no longer the standard for dollars. The dollar's value relied solely on the US's reputation and economic strength. But there's a problem. If there's too much gold in the world, it loses value. So what did the US do? They had two ways to control gold. 1. Mine it from their own reserves. 2. Borrow it from other countries. If other countries didn't lend gold, the US would mine more, increasing the global supply and devaluing other nations' gold. Few know that the US has printed tens of trillions of dollars, and this number grows every second. So when I say you should borrow money to buy a house, some ask, what if house prices drop? What if I can't pay my debts? What if I go bankrupt? But I ask back, what if your money keeps losing value? What if the US can't pay its debts? Do you want to hold cash or assets like houses and gold? Everyone knows the US is drowning in debt, but why don't they collapse like normal businesses? Because they have power. Nowadays, people talk a lot about the metaverse, a virtual world. In the future, we might step into a fully virtual world, and I believe this could become reality. Before online games, did anyone think we could fight each other in a virtual world? Did anyone think we could sit at a computer, connect online, form teams, and hunt monsters together? Back then, everyone thought it was impossible. But now, with just a phone, we can chat via messaging apps and social media. So, in the future, creating a virtual world isn't far-fetched. As a kid, I imagined this, maybe from watching some cartoon. I pictured our real world, without Pikachu or Mewtwo, but in a virtual world, could we join magical Pokemon battles? Okay, I'm getting off topic. What I mean is, online games have their own currencies. So, in the future, what currency will the virtual world use? Will it still be the US dollar? If not, what happens to the US? Feel free to comment and share your thoughts. Whatever your answer, one thing is certain. The amount of cash in the world will keep growing, meaning cash will increasingly lose value. Plus, we're now in the internet era with AI and the metaverse. This could spark a massive wave of new business models. Every economic and tech revolution brings a huge shift. Look at the recent pandemic. It forced many industries to shift from traditional to online models. That was a stepping stone to help people adapt gradually, rather than a sudden tech revolution. Think about Jack Ma's story. After he created Taobao and Alibaba, what happened to traditional businesses in China? Many commercial enterprises and retail stores were wiped out almost overnight. Consumers now go to stores to try things on, then buy online for cheaper. That's how a tech revolution happens, ethical or not. It's societal progress, proven by history time and again. Right now, some are quietly adapting and transitioning. By the time most people realize the opportunities in the virtual economy, you'll have lost your edge. The blue ocean will already be claimed. I always encourage entrepreneurship, but I understand not everyone dares step out of their comfort zone to change their fate. I started from nothing. Those who know me understand my capabilities. What I share, what I teach, are real experiences I've gone through. No luck, no far-fetched theories, just lessons from years in the trenches. I believe entrepreneurship is like physics. It's a science with its own rules, learnable and scalable. With a clear system and framework, you can apply it to your situation. Now, I'll share the most important part of this content. I'll tell you straight, how to turn dead money into living money through finance. This is another aspect of money called intangible assets. Land is an intangible asset. Some might argue, no, land is tangible because we can see it. But I'll reveal a secret. On financial statements, land should be listed as an intangible asset. Why? Those who followed me long enough know the answer. Because what you buy is the right to use land. And what's a right? An intangible asset. Got it. The land or house you buy doesn't truly belong to you. It belongs to the state. I see many people unaware of this, yet still rush to buy houses. Check your land use rights. Do they have an expiration date? In this world, except for what you eat, nothing else truly belongs to you. That's the greatest truth. It may take time to accept, so from now on, don't think about owning things. Think about using them. Even in love, don't try to own or control your partner. Okay, I'm digressing again. Back to the main topic, how to turn dead money into living money. Listen carefully. Suppose I have $10 million and use it to buy land under my company's name. You also have $10 million, but keep it in your company's bank account. Your advantage is flexible cash flow. You can withdraw and spend anytime. But what about cash? Is it gaining or losing value? It's losing because bank interest rates are too low. My land may not be liquid. I can't withdraw cash from it instantly. But if the land's value rises, I can revalue the asset. Suppose year 1, the land is valued at $10 million. Year 2, it rises to $20 million. Year 3, $40 million. How is this increase recorded in accounting? Per regulations, the asset's value increase is counted as profit. Got it. 3 years later, my company could list on the stock exchange. Why? Because my company's revenue grows 100% annually, because the land's value doubles each year. And you? Your $10 million in the bank is still $10 million after 3 years. That's dead money. Some might ask, doesn't the financial market care about a company's actual money? No. In the capital market, the only thing they care about is financial statements. When money becomes an asset, its value completely changes. And that's not even the most important part. Why do I encourage people to start companies and be their own bosses? Simple. In this world, the rules of the capital market are set by capitalists. The advantage never belongs to the poor. People think billionaires like Warren Buffett pay a lot of taxes. Earn more, pay more, right? But why do we hear that billionaires like Buffett, Bill Gates, or former U.S. President Donald Trump sleep so little? Trump once said, "Because we have the intelligence." Let me tell you a real story to make it clear. An entrepreneur, I won't name him, spent $50 million to buy a Van Gogh painting. Media reported he bought it as an individual. But here's the big difference. Buying as an individual versus as a company is entirely different. If a company spends $50 million on the painting, what happens? The painting is recorded as a fixed asset. Why buy it? Because, per regulations, fixed assets can be depreciated over 5 to 8 years. Let's take the minimum, 5 years. That means the painting's value decreases by $10 million annually on the books. This is called depreciation. That $10 million in depreciation can be counted as a company expense. A company's tax is calculated as revenue minus expenses, with the remaining profit taxed at a percentage. So if the profit is zero or negative, what happens? The company pays no tax. Thus, this depreciation offsets the company's revenue. In other words, if the company has $10 million in annual revenue and $10 million in depreciation, its profit is zero, and with zero profit, it pays no tax. Got it. This is one legal way companies optimize taxes. Simply put, this company saves $10 million in income tax annually. Isn't saving taxes the same as earning an extra $10 million a year? Exactly, because money that would have been paid is now kept. Plus, after 5 years, the painting is fully depreciated with a book value near zero. The entrepreneur can then buy it back as an individual for $1. The painting moves from company asset to personal asset, while the company's books only record a $1 profit. Do you get my point? That's why we need to learn to start companies to protect our interests and use financial strategies to optimize cash flow. Now, I ask, how much is this painting really worth? Some say $150 million. Wrong. You're still misunderstanding the nature of money. The concept of money in an entrepreneur's eyes is very different from how we see it in daily life. So, what determines money's value for an entrepreneur? Accounting laws, financial systems, and legal regulations. I'm not bragging. These insights are rarely shared online. You might not learn this in university finance or accounting courses because these are real-world experiences I gained from financial tycoons. Today, I'm sharing this with you, along with my worldview. Before talking about capital and finance, the most important thing is understanding money's nature. Money in different states has different values and roles. So what else can money become? It can become financial assets, The key to becoming a billionaire. Most companies listing on stock exchanges use this method. Among financial assets, what's the most common? Company shares. I ask, do shares have value? Can $10 million in cash become 10 million in shares? What's the difference? Here's a question. Suppose we each have $10 million. How is Donald Trump's 10 million different from ours? In terms of purchasing power, is there a difference? No, the purchasing power is the same. But with shares, when your company is valued, people use methods like cost or discounted cash flow to assess its worth. If your company has 10 million in assets and is valued at 10 million in shares, what does that mean? On the US stock market, a share might be worth just $1. Still don't get it? I just want you to think. Does a company's share value have to be 10 million? On the books, the company's assets and cash are 10 million. But if we put this company under Donald Trump's name, could it instantly be valued at $100 billion? Could each share be worth $1,000? Absolutely. Because when Trump raises capital, everyone scrambles to invest in his company. That's why the owner's reputation matters. Most businesses worldwide revolve around money. For example, a common business model. You start a company locally. Say you live in New York and spend $10 million to register a company. But if you connect with Elon Musk of Tesla, he might offer a completely different deal. What's going on? I'd advise you never to put assets in your name. Of the 10 million, I'd help you find a company to hold 8 million. This service is called proxy ownership. Heard of it? You might wonder why you need me. But Musk would say, I charge 3 to 5% annually as a service fee, about $300,000 to $400,000 a year. Plus, there's the 8 million to invest. So, I'd help you find an organization for proxy ownership. Why do this? It should be my company, but I only keep 1 to 2 million. Give the rest to Musk to find another company to represent and pay him $300,000 to $400,000 yearly. Why? Simple. If the proxy company is Apple, your company's share structure becomes Apple owning 80%, you keeping 10%. But here's the thing. Apple doesn't care about managing your company. So why do it? Do you know how many benefits you'd get if Apple's name is on your company in a bustling city like New York? If a reputable company invests in your business, won't others rush to invest? Of course, because they can brag, I'm partnering with Apple. Got it. So, never think money's value is fixed. When you turn money into shares, its value changes. These examples are hypothetical, but if you don't understand after watching this, it's okay. The key is to remember, money sitting in your pocket or bank account is dead money. Never try to hold on to money. It never truly belongs to you. What we need is the right to use money. Only when you let money leave your hands does it truly become yours. But letting it go doesn't mean squandering it. If you're already rich, you can spend to enjoy life. But if you have nothing, you must know how to convert money into other forms, like assets, tangible or intangible, or financial assets. Most importantly, invest in knowledge, because your brain is your greatest asset. Due to time constraints, I'll stop here. We share free information on becoming rich, entrepreneurs, investors, and achieving financial freedom. If you don't want to miss out, follow our channel, turn on notifications, and share this video. I sincerely wish those who support this video achieve financial freedom soon. If even 1 or 2 sentences here help your life, I'm fulfilled.